all together.
Hello, and welcome to Covert Castaway. I'm Holly.
Je suis Stéphane.
Join us as we share what we learn and how we're making the transition to liveaboard cruising. So it's been a while.
We took a break.
We took a little break. We were doing
From the podcast.
From the podcast, we were doing non-boat related travel, which rather than doing a bunch of episodes, we just were going to summarize kind of what we've been up to in one podcast and talk a little bit about prepping to leave and actually go and take possession of our boat, which we're really excited about. Let's set the stage for you, though. We are in Tahoe, and it is snowing outside in May.
Yeah.
So
the last few days.
Yeah, so it was like 75, 80 degrees. It was like beautiful weather.
But when we got here, it was like coming back.
There's a lot of snow on the
from
ground.
Bali. It was like, ooh, this is cold. And then suddenly we had like almost
beautiful.
Summer weather for 7
Yeah,
or
it was
10
like
days.
summer.
We're like, okay. And now we're like back to winter.
Yeah, so now it's snowing again. So, May means it may be sunny, it may be snowing. So that's what's going on here. Let's talk. You mentioned Bali. So we did go to Bali.
Let's start with
we spent some time in Australia first. And Australia was very cool. We got to spend some nice time there, but we got to visit some cool places. We were staying in Melbourne, and it's a great place to visit. The people are amazing. We got to meet with some other sailors and enthusiasts there, and also we were able to go see the penguins, which were super cute. At the Penguin Sanctuary, they come and every night they kind of crawl up the beaches and herds of thousands and thousands of these penguins, which that was really cool. So spent some time there. What else would you like to add about Australia?
Yeah, well, we met some Outremer owners or future Outremer owners. So 55, 52. So that was really cool. Some future FP owners. So that was fun. Always fun when you travel, like you end up meeting people
and
through this community. Yeah, talking about boats. So we definitely enjoy that.
We also met up with the O'Kellys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool because they were there for a while too.
Yeah, they were in Australia, but it's a big country, but they ended up coming to Melbourne. So we definitely had to meet in person. So that was definitely great.
Yeah, so we were all the way in Australia and we were like, oh, Bali's on our bucket list.
Wait. Oh. So Australia, so we didn't tour like Australia. We had kind of the experience we had was we were based in Melbourne. And then we did some weekend trips around, but we definitely, like you said, we saw the penguins, we saw the kangaroos in the wild.
We saw the koalas,
Yeah, so we've got able to check. We went to an Australian football game. So
we went to concerts. I mean, we did a lot of stuff. We went to, saw some cool bands and musical things.
So got a feel for at least the life.
What it's like to live
Melbourne.
there.
Yeah. And we were in a cool area of Melbourne.
Cremorne.
Very young startup type thing. And the city with the river in between, you can walk around. We didn't have a car for 2 months.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really nice. Yeah, so we definitely enjoyed, and we know we'll be back in Australia because we're sailing that way. Eventually.
And the people are amazing. We have a ton of listeners from Australia. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I love your country, and I want to go back and visit more of it. And there is a lot to visit because it is really big. So what I was going to say is Bali has always been on our bucket list, and we're like, oh, it's so close. Like
you were.
If you look on
it's so close.
If you look at a globe, or Google Maps, you're like, oh, it's right there. But if you're flying from Melbourne, which is the most southern point, I guess, a pretty southern point in Australia, it's actually not that close.
You have to cross the country.
The entire country.
It's like a long way, and then you have to get to Bali from there.
Anyway, we're not complaining. We took the trip.
Well, it's all relative. If you compare from the west coast of the U.S., it's very close.
But Bali is kind of like California's version of Mexico, I guess, or Hawaii. You know, like you kind of go there. People go there from Australia and spend some time.
Weather is good.
The weather's good.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Food is good.
Yeah.
People are really wonderful.
So the other thing that happened, and the reason we were motivated to go to Bali, is we were attacked by Tim Tams when we were in Australia, and both of us probably ate too much sugar. And we weren't feeling so great about ourselves, I think. And we were like, well, let's go do some yoga and, you know, get some good vibes going and, you know, enjoy the culture in Bali as well, which is pretty chill and joyful, I would say. And it did not disappoint, did it? I mean, the people were amazing.
Yeah.
It was
people, the culture. We definitely fell in love with, you know, I think this is what hits you with some countries, and it happened with Turkey.
Yeah.
You know, you might have some first impressions
Ideas,
from whatever, and then you go there and then you meet with the people, you understand their culture, you're spending time. And then, you know, it's just wonderful. And Bali, like right away.
Oh, it's amazing. You know, the people are just
you get
incredible.
into a taxi and then suddenly like you're chit-chatting and learning about their country and what happened during COVID and how they survived and how like the positive they are.
They're so positive and just beautiful, welcoming, and like they believe in karma. So like everything is good, that they, you know, the energy is really positive. Like some places you go to visit, and you're visiting the sites, you know, and some places you go to visit, you think you're visiting the sites, but actually it has a feeling to it, right? Like it has a feeling or a vibe that is just so
it stays with you.
Tangible. Yeah. And that was definitely true in Bali. We visited Ubud, which has a ton. I mean, we visited waterfalls and the rice fields and the coffee plantation, like all the places you go, you know, you can look it up on TripAdvisor. There's tons of stuff to see, and we did all that.
Good restaurants.
Oh my God,
for
restaurants.
Vegan,
we
like,
were.
I mean, whole food, plant-based.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's
awesome.
just like so many options.
Yeah. And so we, and it's got this really cool fusion of this expat community that have really integrated really well with the locals. And so it's this really nice vibe there. And we did that. And then we went over to Sese. It was sort of Sese Beach, which is walking distance from Canggu, which is another big bustling, I wouldn't call it a city. It's like a town.
Yeah, that 10, 12 years ago was pretty quiet, but with all the expat community and it's just like, boom. I mean, it's like mopeds.
It's mopeds
everywhere.
galore. Like think of videos you've seen on India. It's kind of like that. Like there's a lot of mopeds, but there's not a single traffic light. Maybe we saw one traffic light. There's no stop signs. There's no roundabouts. But everybody just has a flow of and they kind of wave each other in. Even the dogs know the proper time to cross the road.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because you're like, well, those dogs, if they survived all these years, like they know how to cross the road. And then you see the dogs, like they're chill. So they know, like, if you cross the road really quickly,
you're going to die. Yeah.
So what they do is they figured out the drivers are going to be respectful.
And weave around you.
Yeah. So they start crossing and then they come back and then they move a little bit. So they're taking their time. And so you have time to, you know, people have time to slow down, figure it out. And then they just kind of...
flow goes around.
It's part of the traffic.
Yeah.
And then everybody is just respectful.
So it's funny because, you know, when we first got there, you were like, wait, don't cross the road. And I'm just like, I'm going for it. But I would just like be committed to crossing the road, but I would go slowly and everything just kind of goes around you.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool. So anyway, we had an amazing time. We were on we were at like a yoga center.
Well, the center, if you ever want to do like a retreat.
Oh my God.
It's called Udara Bali.
Bali, yeah.
And it's a German guy like who founded these, like I think he was like a banking guy working in Japan, I think, years ago, who was like, I think the airplanes were stopping in Bali. So like before it was like the big thing, like they were like,
and he loved it. Yeah.
Like hippie life. And then so now he's just created that health center based exactly on how you wanted it. And you are like on this little oasis, and it's so well done.
Yeah, it was great. We took care of ourselves. We did yoga. We did a lot of stretching. They have aerial yoga with the silks and like, I don't know.
All kind of yoga, massage,
everything.
I mean, every single thing you can think of. Like we were there 2 weeks. We were like so busy from morning to night doing like everything in the schedule and more. And then we did the ice bath, and you have, I mean, so many cool experiences between the hot sauna, the dry sauna, the wet sauna, the cold plunge, the ice bath, the pool that is like body water temperature, and you get this
the music,
the music, and I mean it's
sound
just like
therapy.
It's really well done.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we could go on and on about Bali, but this podcast isn't fully about Bali. But we had an amazing time and definitely needed to re-energize. So we spent time there. The Wi-Fi was terrible, but that's not why you go. That's not why you go. Let's see, what else? After that, we came back.
Back to reality,
right in time for tax season.
Yeah.
So as it is with this time of year, we take care of all of our regular admin stuff. So if people are preparing to go cruising for a long period of time, or you've been doing this seasonally, you can relate. You come home and you're kind of inundated with all your admin tasks and mail that's been piling up. So taking care of a lot of that stuff. Just
house stuff.
Yeah, we came back to the house. We weren't sure what to expect because Tahoe had like 13 storm trains, I guess they were calling them, and so people's roofs were falling in and all this stuff. We got a new roof put on a couple of years ago, so we were crossing our fingers hoping that worked out. The only sort of problem we had is that snowplow took out our front stairs, so we're getting those fixed. It's just a couple steps and a railing. That's
an electrical problem in the staircase.
A little electrical
so we're
problem,
doing some preventive maintenance as well. Because this winter was a special winter. It's like most snow probably ever, or the second ever. And so, all the houses are basically exposed to a lot of the elements. And so, since the electrical stuff,
but all in all, it was in good shape. I mean, so we were happy about that. So that's the boring part of the podcast. But it is a reality, when you do spend time abroad or traveling or cruising, there is kind of a pile that you come back to that you have to deal with, which is...
And then you're going to be away for a long period of time, so you have to make sure you take care of everything you can take care of.
Yeah, and then just getting our annual checkups and, all that stuff is all really important. Then
the fun part.
Yeah, the fun part.
We started
preparing to leave.
Spending money. So we have... we have... obviously, a lot of our personal stuff that we brought from Turkey and left in France at my parents' house that we have to go retrieve. But we need also some new stuff that got sold with the boat. And so now it's like, okay, do we buy it in the U.S. And then bring it with us, or do we buy it in France? And which one is cheaper and stuff. So there's some stuff we're buying here. And so we're starting to accumulate things that are small, fairly light, and that are like better prices or more options in the US. And some other stuff we'll just buy in
So
France.
I'm looking at the pile now because our house is like the grand staging area for what's going to get packed.
Pile is not that big.
I'm looking at a couple of JBL speakers. I'm looking at
kind of electronics, like the
range finder, I guess, is that what it's called? Distance measuring thing.
Yeah, which is probably a toy, but because the pricing on these items is gone down quite a bit, and so I don't know how useful it would be, but I think in some cases where we anchored, it would have been useful to gauge the distance.
So what's with the broccoli seeds?
because we want to do sprouting, and we have in there, the Outremer 52, we have a little herb garden.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to do like herb garden. We're doing sprouting because we're going to be gone for a long period of time.
Why did you buy the seeds to travel?
Because like in France, like
we could never find them.
Yeah, it's like either small bags and very expensive, and here like in the US it's like
we'll
1 pound or 2 pounds, and then it's cheaper.
Customs, yeah.
So but these some camera equipment. Well, there is one big thing that I look at here on the floor.
Yeah, I wonder if we should do a podcast about it separately.
Well, we can say we already shared it, but we ended up buying the Starlink antenna.
And we're not exactly sure how we're going to fit that in a suitcase.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to be a separate box just that we carry within its box. So we'll talk more about this right now. I mean, we're pretty excited about it. Right now, we're waiting for response from Starlink, because we're like in limbo. We're not going to use it before August. Do we need to initialize it here in the US where we live, or can we take it with us initially over there?
Yeah.
And then we have the 110 plugs here, but on the website, the store, they don't sell those. So can we?
So they haven't been responding to our emails. So if anybody has answers to these questions,
if anybody who listens and works at SpaceX,
yeah, right.
yeah, send us an email at sailingairmen@gmail.com. But otherwise, we're pretty excited because, the new plans they came up with, I think, are still relatively expensive, but definitely more cruiser friendly. And right now, our primary option was going to be I forget now the name of it, the Iridium Go. Mm-hmm. They had come up with a new model.
And executive or something.
The exec, yeah. And we were going to go in that direction as the primary, and we were going to wait like another year to consider Starlink, because things are evolving so quickly and changing all the time. And so, but because they came up with this new plan that is more of a global plan, mm-hmm.
that
you can use across ocean. And so now that's become our primary, and we just need a secondary in case we have issues with Starlink. So we're looking at a couple options. But
so anyway, we're getting bits and pieces, bits and pieces that we're going to take with us and figure out how to fit. So what's next?
So what's next? We are driving down next week, to San Francisco. Visit your sister before we leave, drop the car over there. Then we fly to France, take in Paris to Rennes. We take the train. We have a used car over there that we had bought. And so we're going to retrieve that with our personal stuff.
Which we're going to sell. So if anybody wants to buy a used car in Le Grand Mont.
By early August.
Yeah.
And so we'll drive down from Brittany to we'll see my sister, my parents, catch up with family, and then we'll drive down to La Grande Motte in time for Outremer week. So we'll do more sailing and the medical course. So that's pretty exciting. We'll get to see the Outremer 52, the Outremer Cup. So the informal racing between Outremer boats. And then I'm going to stay over there until boat delivery. So I'll be there in June, July. Our boat delivery is August 1st, crossing our fingers. Mm-hmm. You have a different plan. You're going to abandon me over there.
I'm going to abandon you. I'm going to come back. I'm going to spend some time with my kids, which is cool, and work a little bit, and then come back out and meet you in late July, I think. So that'll be good.
Mid-July. Yeah.
To late July.
Oh, I don't know the details. So anyway, so I'll be there. So talking French and getting back into the French lifestyle.
Eating all the pastries.
Eating crepes and galettes.
Yeah, truthfully, that's why I'm going to go back to the U.S. so I don't get tempted because that's dangerous. Yeah, no. So that's going to be sort of our plan. And
for the next 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And then it'll be boat delivery, and then we'll kind of go through the 5-day training for our boat, the handover, and then it'll be kind of focus on the shakedown, cruising a little bit, but shakedown first, getting the boat ready for the Atlantic crossing this winter.
Mm-hmm. So you want to preview a little bit our next episode?
Yeah, next episode. So the Outremer 52, hull number 1, was released on time for the international multi-hull show in La Grande Motte, just cats and trimarans. And so that was the premiere, just mid-April. So there's been footage, pictures, videos. So in the next episode, we'll share our first impressions, or virtual, I guess, first impressions based on all the footage and media stuff we got, which is kind of interesting because we felt we knew the boat quite well, and then we feel like we're learning quite a bit, or being surprised about stuff that we either knew or forgot or didn't realize.
Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled for that, or keep your notifications on for that, because that'll be coming up. And then if you listen to our last podcast a while back, was with Tom over at North Sails, who happened to be our neighbor, and we talked with him a little bit about what he did over there. So we took another trip over there a couple days ago, and we filmed a tour of North Sails. And so we're actually putting a video together for that on our YouTube channel for you guys to share with you guys. So that'll also be coming up pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, it was our second tour, and of the factory, people super nice. Part of our sales will be fabricated over there, and not everybody get to leave close to the North Sails factory in Nevada,
like
but we happen
30 minutes
to be 30 minutes away. So we wanted to kind of capture that, so people understand what's really behind, North Sails. Yeah. Pretty high-tech stuff.
Yeah. And we're not sponsored by them, by the way. We just think it's really cool, and we geek out over that stuff. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. Please shoot us an email at sailingawen@gmail.com if you have any questions, or if you have any answers for us about Starlink. Otherwise, check us out on Facebook, on Sailing Awen, or Instagram. And that's it for us. Fair winds for now.
Bon.
Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, or share with another covert castaway. Fair winds for now.